All right. Hello, everybody. This is Nicole Whitlock with eCom Sellers. And this is the eCom Sellers podcast. It's 2023. So I don't know if you guys are celebrating or not, but it is 2023. So if you can hear me, welcome to 2023. So today I'm flying solo doing the podcast, and I'm actually live. We had a few different things because of the holidays, people being off, and that's okay. So it is me flying solo for today's eCom Sellers podcast. So typically we do the eCom Sellers podcast every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. It is myself and Kelly Ward, and we will talk about e-commerce news, tips, and more. So if you have never listened to the eCom Sellers podcast, we invite you to come back and check us out again next Monday at 6 p.m., where my partner in crime most likely will be part of that podcast. We hope that you had an amazing start to 2023, that it's been at least, that you haven't had anything significant happen. For all those who had a really rough 2022, I get it. I understand. We're definitely praying for you all, and that hopefully 2023 is a new start and reset for you. I would tell you, for me and my kids, we actually went to a store called IKEA because I just needed to get out of the house. So we bought some planners for them. I bought a couple of planners for them so that we can sit down and talk about what we want for 2023. Trying to get my kids in the mindset of first adulting. That's the first thing. But two, at least some level of advanced planning, because, when they want to do something, they're just like, can we go, blah, blah, blah. And there's no planning. There's no advanced anything. And of course, their mom, poor children, their mom has already thought through what they're doing for the next day, if not for the next week. So the fact that they can't just ask me to do something on the drop of the time. Now, let me just say this. I am flexible to some extent, but I am all about, you didn't give me a heads up on that, so I don't know if we're doing it. I'm sure I'm not the only person like that. I'm not inflexible, but I do like to have some kind of idea what we're doing, because I have a very full schedule. I manage a team of multiple VAs, and then also my own e-commerce business, and also all the things that I have to do for them. So my schedule is pretty full, in addition to other stuff that I have to do for our nonprofit. So I'm a busy woman. So for 2023, I'm trying to get my kids mentally prepared for, when you want to do something, give me a heads up. So the first thing that we wrote out, not necessarily New Year's resolutions, because we didn't really do New Year's resolutions. What we did was just sort of write out, what are some of the things that you want to do differently in 2023? And again, some would perceive that maybe as a resolution. Maybe it's just a thought of the fact that they are maturing. And so we're trying to get you closer to being independent, being self-sufficient, being able to do things on your own. So I wrote out a few things for them, and then I let them write down a couple of things. And then I asked Tony, like, what do you think is something that Nicholas should stop doing in 2023? Try to ask that question of Nicholas, but Nicholas was like, yeah, he's not really paying attention. So his contribution to that conversation was extremely limited. But we did actually establish a few good things that I think are going to help them along the way. And in order to stay on top of that, I actually scheduled a 30-minute session with them every Sunday separately, so that we can go through where they are. And we do a 10-minute touch base every single day, Monday through Saturday, so that we can stay on track and see where we are. We established a couple of goals for March, spring break. We established a couple of goals for the summer, like what summer camp do you want to go to? What summer program do you want to be part of? Where do you want to travel? What do you want to see? So that we can start budgeting, which is something that my kids, don't think about. They're just like, oh, we're going so-and-so. Yeah, that's where we're going. They don't think about what it takes to get to that place. Like, oh, mommy has to save, $300 a month every month, all the way up until July, so we can go do this thing, whatever this thing is. So they don't think like that. And I'm trying to get them to start thinking about doing things and planning them in advance, where they have the capacity to do so. So Nicholas may never have the capacity. We don't know. God's in control of that. But trying to get Tony to start thinking in that mindset. And I'm hoping, praying, wishing that that actually starts to work for him and he starts to see and understand it a lot better. So I don't know what you have done with your kids for this 2023. If you guys sat down as a family and actually thought about what goals, what things you want to accomplish together as a family, and what do you want to accomplish independently. Wrote out some things for Nicholas, getting him into sports in 2023, getting him to use a phone in 2023, which is a huge deal. It is really a huge deal. He's had a phone. I just hate to say this out loud, but I'm going to be honest and transparent. Like, I've been paying for a phone for him for 1 year, and he's not used it once. I don't even think he knows where it is. So the goal is for him to use a phone in 2023 because he will be 16, and I need him to be able to at least function with the phone. So that's going to be probably a 6-month challenge just to get him to that place. But he does have a phone. Whereas, Tony, some of the things that I want to do, and I'm going to reach out to some of the men that we're connected to in the church and outside of the church to try and get him to apprentice with some of these men, just to apprentice with them to work on cars. Like if I have a friend that's an auto mechanic, for him to spend a month just apprenticing with that person. And then also home repair and or lawn care, so that he gets some experience with all those things. We're also working through Texas Workforce Commission so he can get a regular job and get some supports. Because again, if you don't know, both of my kids are on the autism spectrum. One of them has Asperger's, the other one has autism. And so just being able to do those things and getting Nicholas started with Texas Workforce Commission, which is going to be interesting and also probably a little nerve-wracking. But I'm excited about that. I also put a challenge out to both my kids, and I told them in 2023, you guys are cooking the entire year. They're like, what? So that means that every time mommy's in the kitchen, I've always had this rule, or at least I've had it for the last couple of years. When I'm in the kitchen, you're in the kitchen. So that's the thing for us. But just making sure that they can work independently and prepare meals. So I've been teaching them how to use crock pots and the air fryer and all these other different things so that they can prepare meals for themselves. So for 2023, I'm going to be letting them do 90, probably 5% of all the cooking. And I'm just going to sit back. I'm really proud of my boys. Before the end of the year, they made chili. Like each one of them had a component in making the chili. So they all had different activities that they had to do, but just having them prepare an entire meal by themselves where they don't have a component, that's one of the things. The other thing is in 2023, having my son Tony pay the bills for a year. I think at that point, hopefully he'll start to understand finances a little bit more and better, even though it's not his money, it's my money. But the point is, he has to be able to understand that when you leave the lights on, like that is a cost and an expense. And maybe you'll pay attention to leaving the lights on or letting the water run when you brush your teeth. Like, no, we're not doing that. Or washing clothes with only 3 articles of clothing in the washer and you got a full, like, that's crazy. So all of the things that he doesn't currently appreciate, when he starts paying the bills, he will start to appreciate. So that's what I'm doing. I would love to hear what you're doing with your family for 2023, if you're doing anything at all, or if you've established, I will say, maybe some things you want to do differently, how you want to move differently in 2023. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're going to continue the status quo and the new year means absolutely nothing to you. So for me, it does mean something. And the goal is always to progressively work on getting better every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. That's my goal. So today, as we talk about 2023, we're going to first cover the news that we haven't covered for the last couple of weeks. So we haven't covered the news since Christmas. So we're going to cover the news real quick. And then after we do that, we're going to talk about what to do now that you're in 2023. So with that, let's get after the news. Let's see what we got. So all these articles, I always bring them up in advance. This article comes to us from a local newspaper, Denver, and talking about Target's in-store coupon policy is frustrating shoppers. So Target has made some adjustments to their couponing policy, and people are not happy about it. I'm sure it has everything to do with them being concerned about fake coupons and fraud. A lot of the big box stores are experiencing issues when it comes to fraud. And so, yeah, they're changing some things up. But in any case, you can go check this article out, or it's actually a news story. It is Denver 7, I believe, is ABC Denver 7. And it is talking about Target's new couponing policy. The next article comes to us from Wired. And in Wired, they're talking about direct to consumer is dying. It's time for a new paradigm. And to reach customers, brands will need to combine creativity across Web3, social media, online, retail, and in-store experiences. So it's going to require more than just what you've been doing in the past in order to get customers in the door and or get customers to buy the products. So I think this is an interesting article. Again, it comes to us from Wired. It's from December the 23rd. Like I said, we haven't had a session since before Christmas. And it's direct to consumer is dying. It's time for a new paradigm. So this might be helpful for you if you have a Shopify store, if you have your own storefront, you have a brick and mortar. You might want to find out what's happening. In addition to that, if you have a brand, you might want to read this article because there might be some insights that you gain and may cause you to move a little differently in 2023. So the next article comes to us from CBS News. And the article is, there we go. Nope, I did not want Barbara Walters. Hold on. we lost what the article was. Hold on, let me refresh this. This was not what I wanted, so I'll have to go find the original article. I think it had something to do with refunds. I think that's what it was. All right, so the next article, I don't know why this is a Google article, but it is talking about, evidently this came up in Google News. So it's not just Google News. You can pull it up on USA Today, Yahoo News, Fox Business. So the IRS is delaying the $600 tax reporting rule for payments. That is the news. Ditches the new tax requirement for now that would have caused lots of confusion. So they're ditching that for right now, the 1099K. If you've been keeping track of whether or not you made over $600 on Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, any other instant payment tool, then they're just delaying that for right now. That doesn't mean it's going away forever. So I would encourage you to go read the article so you better understand what the plan is so that you don't get caught up next year and get yourself in trouble with any of these instant payment or instant cash apps. All right, the next article comes to us from Reuters, and it is eCommerce will go viral on social media in 2023. I absolutely agree with that. It has been going viral already on TikTok and on YouTube. And if you guys didn't know, Amazon has its own channel. There's a lot of live broadcasting like Whatnot and Comments Sold and some others. And so in 2023, this is just going to continue to be a thing. And if you have a product and you haven't been showcasing your product or sharing your product on social media, I would encourage you to do it. But you can go check out this article from Reuters. It is eCommerce will go viral on social media in 2023. Okay, so this next article, which I think you might have limited access to it, is coming to us from TechCrunch. And embracing digital commerce may be retailers' best bet for staying ahead of the fast-moving industry. Now, here's the deal. We have now read, this will be the third one, where they're talking about there's going to be a shift in how consumers buy products, see products, use like all of this, access products. So again, if you have a private label brand or you have a store, a brick and mortar or an online store, then you probably should be checking out these articles because, again, there are some predictions here. Maybe these are things you already knew. Maybe these things you were not really paying attention to, and you may need to move differently in 2023. But there is a correlation and a connection here. They're all in some way related when you have three different articles that are just talking about what's going to happen with commerce in the future. All right. This next article comes to us from eCommerce Bytes, and on eCommerce Bytes, there's a lot of stuff on eCommerce Bytes. Let's just start with that. But this particular article is talking about eBay demands for a photo ID leaves some sellers uncomfortable. So this was an article that someone had written about, needing that ID, and I can remember re-verifying my stuff. I feel like I just did it maybe a week ago. I don't know. They wanted me to re-verify, revalidate something. Wasn't expecting that. So eBay is now requiring a photo ID along with all of the information I've supplied in the past. I see sellers are leaving in droves. I personally have until January 23rd to comply. I think I complied already, but again, it's making some people nervous, and it's probably not going to go away. Some of the other platforms require ID as well. They require a copy of your driver's license or whatever. So I don't know why we didn't think that eBay was going to jump on the bandwagon. So in any case, you can check out this article on eCommerce Bytes and go read it for yourself. This article comes to us from Yahoo News, and it is 12 types of passive income that aren't taxable. Let me just say, I always love these kind of articles. I don't know about the 100% validity of it, because sometimes this is clickbait and sometimes it's not, but 12 types of passive income that are not taxable. I'm interested. So you might want to go read this, Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News, read the article and see if any of these apply to you or don't apply to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Okay, the next article also comes to us from Yahoo News. Yahoo News, we already talked about that one, ditches the new tax requirement. The IRS ditches the new tax requirement. So we had already read that one because it was causing some level of confusion around the $600 reporting threshold. All right, so the next article comes to us from The Sun. And The Sun says 3 doors before Walmart makes a major store change along with Target, CVS, and it will affect how you shop every time. Now, I know that one of the things that we've talked about over 6 months is how the different big box stores were going to start investing in technology, and how the investment in technology automatically forces changes to the stores and or to the platforms. So that's something that you're just going to have to, embrace technology. This one looks like that they're talking about, they're getting rid of the paper or plastic as single-use bags. Get the boot at 187 stores. That's interesting. So you're not going to be able to use the paper or plastic. You probably have to come in with your own bags. So they're starting that on January 1st in Colorado. Like I said, I'm not going to be surprised about more technology changes that are coming down the pike. But again, bringing in your own bags. So this is in Colorado. But it says it's The Sun, so it's the U.S. Article. Interesting. You might want to go read it. I don't know that it's going to affect you unless you're in Colorado, or if you're in one of those stores where they're talking about it. This article comes to us from Soul Retriever, which happens to be, I think, a dog website. I don't know how this article popped up, but it did. It came up in my newsfeed. What I thought was really interesting is that Supreme New York, and Supreme is a huge brand, that they are moving from their own e-commerce solution to Shopify. I think that's a big deal, that they are transitioning from their own thing to Shopify. So if you don't know, Supreme sells a lot of the hot clothes, and they have other things, but they're moving to a Shopify platform. That's got to be some big news for Shopify. That's got to be some interesting news. So again, you can go to Soul Retriever, which I believe is a dog website. Maybe, I don't know. That's really funny that this came up in my newsfeed. So it might be worth reading, checking it out, talking about the transition. And, that's just going to give Shopify some more clout, I guess, because I'm sure managing and maintaining your own whatever is a lot. As stores or companies, businesses, stores, whatever, start to look at efficiencies and efficiencies gained, it's probably more cost effective to run everything on Shopify rather than to keep a team to maintain your own custom stuff. So Shopify has got your solution in a box. Makes sense to me. All right. The next article comes to us from CNBC. And this one is talking about some social media regulations might be coming in 2023. So Congress is looking at passing some social media regulations, how that's going to affect regular users versus people that are in government positions. Like the first part of this article talks about people that are in government positions for sure, that they're not allowed to have TikTok on their government issue phones. That's fine. It makes sense to me. I mean, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But then how they plan on uh, pushing that out to regular, the rest of the US, I don't know. So there might be some things happening. Who knows? Coming down the pike, and you want to just pay attention to how that might play out for the rest of users. Um, may be an issue, may not be an issue. They do refer to social media as digital fentanyl, which is really sad. Yeah, digital fentanyl. TikTok is digital fentanyl, which is really bad. Fentanyl is bad. Okay, for those who don't know. So I thought this was an interesting article, something to pay attention to. We don't have to do anything yet, but we just want to be mindful, because if they, continue to pass legislation and it passes in the House and then the Senate, then it just goes to the president's desk and he can veto it or he can sign it into law. And again, I don't think anything's gonna move that fast. And we may be 5 years out before they decide to do anything with social media, or 6 years or 2 years, who knows? But we just want to pay attention to it. All right, so I think that is the majority of the news. I know I missed one article because of the fact that it had rolled over to Barbara Walters, and I think it had something to do with returns. So I'll have to go back and look and see if I can find it. But it had to do with some stores saying that they may not even request returns, meaning that people return stuff, like let people keep it. I'm like, oh man. And I know with some of the platforms, that is one of the options, just to let people keep stuff. So anyway, this should be interesting. We'll see. All right. So with that, let's get on to the tips portion of the podcast. So with the eCom Sellers podcast, what we normally do is we kind of talk a little bit about what's happening in our world and with our sales. And then after that, we talk about what's in the news, and then we cover an e-commerce tip. Recently, we had our annual 2023 e-commerce planning sessions. There are 3 parts to that: the reset, reassess, and reset, refocus, and re-energize. And so we had those over the 27th, 28th, and 29th. And if you did not get a chance to watch those or to register for those, you can definitely be able to catch the replays here in a little bit. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But the question becomes, are you ready for 2023? Whether it be you're ready for in your business, or whether you are ready in your personal life, or a combination of the two. Are you ready? So what do we do now that we're in 2023, in addition to praying and seeking wise counsel? So the first thing is that we need to reconcile. We need to reconcile, close out December, probably close out your fourth quarter now that the fourth quarter is over and you're into first quarter, and you need to analyze your data. So if you are a person that's been participating in the monthly ecom planning sessions and the quarterly ecom planning sessions, then you've been looking at your data every month for the entire year of 2022, and you've been dissecting it every quarter to see what adjustments you need to make for the next quarter coming up. If you haven't been participating in those, I do invite you to join us. We'll be doing our session tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, where we're going to be talking about the quarter, and we're going to be talking about the week ahead. So you should be reconciling, looking at your numbers, balancing out, running your year-end reports on different platforms. Depending on which platform you're on, make sure that you're running those year-end reports so you can get that data and analyze your report, your results. For some, you may have already missed a window. For others, again, it depends on what platform you're selling on. So reconcile your reports, reconcile your balances, reconcile your inventory if you can. For some, you may wait another month before you reconcile your balances, meaning your bank balances, because you don't know if you have more returns or refunds coming. And you might also wait another month to reconcile your inventory. Again, you don't know if you're going to have returns. So when you get the opportunity, reconcile what you can and know what you're expecting to come back. What have you already heard back from customers that you're supposed to be getting back, all of that other stuff. And analyze your results. There's information in the data. If you're a new seller, you may not have much to analyze. You may not even have much to reconcile. But write this down as an activity that you should engage in every month, at the end of every month, and at the end of every quarter, so that if you're reconciling every month, the end of year doing your taxes is so much easier, cleaner, because you know where you stand. And the end of the quarter, again, is so much easier and cleaner because you know where you stand. You've been staying on top of it every quarter. So take the opportunity to do that. For me, I'm going to be stepping away for at least a couple of days just so I can reconcile the rest of 2023. And that way I can get a fresh start. I normally take about the first week of the new year to kind of reconcile what I can. I know that, again, as a seller, I am an actual seller, and I do have some returns. So I know that I'm going to continue to get potential returns all the way up until, the end of January, beginning of February. That's just the reality. And I am preparing for that. But the rest of it I can reconcile for right now. And I do analyze my data, analyze the results, analyze my sales. But there might be some things in your own personal life. Maybe you've got some things in your personal life that you need to reconcile, review, analyze. When it comes to maybe your health, maybe it comes to stuff with your kids, stuff with your pets, stuff with your spouse, stuff in your household. So I really take this time to reconcile not just the business side, but there may be things on my kids' side, that with my family that I need to do. So like for my kids, we had, for 2022, I had to get the neuropsychological evaluations completed because I'm going to be applying for guardianship in 2023, and I can't go anywhere or do anything, talk to any attorneys without that. And so for me, I needed it to happen in 2022 so that I can move into 2023. And so that was something that I had to make sure I have all my paperwork in a row and review the results so that I can have a better conversation with the attorney when I sit down to talk to the attorney before we sit down and talk to the judge. So again, there may be things that you need to reconcile or you need to analyze or review. And this is your opportunity to take a moment to do that. If you need to take the first week in January, the second week in January, do that. There has to come a point where you're going to pivot and transition so that you can keep things going and moving. So sometimes we keep both of those things going simultaneously, like juggling balls in the air. We have multiple going at the same time, and reconciliation is one of those, and analysis is another. So then the next thing is to reflect on 2022. The goal is to reflect. We're just reviewing. We are thinking about what happened. Now, when we reflect, we can take a moment to determine or to document some things that didn't go right or didn't go well, what challenges we had, and that's fine. We're not going to stay there, and we're not going to dwell there, because the goal is every year gets its own suitcase, as far as I'm concerned. I am not trying to drag all of the bricks and rocks inside of the suitcase for 2022 into 2023. I'm trying to leave that suitcase at the door so I can pick up a brand new one that's empty and start from there. Not that I know I'm going to forget what happened or whatever. I'm going to pay attention to those things. I'm going to make a note of what happened and what did go well and what didn't go well. And I am going to prepare to move forward. I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to dwell on regrets or mistakes, because you can't change them. You can dwell on mistakes and regrets, but you cannot change them. You can't move them. You can't modify them. You can't erase them. They've already happened. They are in the past. So if you've ever tried to walk forwards while looking backwards, you're definitely going to walk into something or walk off of something. Walk off a cliff or walk into a pole or a wall or a door. You can't do both. You cannot move forward and always be looking backwards. So let's try to leave that suitcase at the door of 2022 and pick up a new suitcase for 2023. Learn from our mistakes, pay attention to them, make notes about things that maybe did or didn't go well with your kids, with your family, with your pets, with your spouse, your significant other, with your business, with your job, you know, with your finances, with your health. But we're not going to stay there. We're going to move differently and hopefully repair, fix, or resolve whatever we need to in 2023. That's the goal. Next is I encourage you to visualize. Visualize what you want for 2023. Visualize where you want to go. And I mean, like, where do you want your business to go? What do you want it to look like before the end of the year? What do you want your business to look like by the end of quarter one? What do you want your business to look like by the end of quarter two? What do you want it to look like by the end of quarter three? What do you want it to look like by the end of quarter four? I want you to visualize your business. Where do you want it to look like? Where do you want to be? Make a note of those things. Make a note of those aspirations that you have for your business. Make a note of those things for your life. Where do you want your life to be at the end of quarter one? What are the things that you want to have in place or you want to do differently? What are the things that you want at the end of quarter two and quarter three and quarter four? So I normally, if you participated in the annual planning session, like I break things down by quarter because in each quarter you have 3 months. 3 months to make a change. 3 months is enough time to make a change. And I'm not saying like make a whole bunch of changes. Like I'm not trying to put 10 changes in one quarter. Maybe anywhere from 2 to 4 changes max. 2 to 4 things that I want to do differently. I want to have happen. I don't want to have happen. I want to fix. I want to resolve. I want to, whatever. And I really work at making sure when I visualize, like I think about as I am going back and thinking about reflecting on 2022. What are the most impactful things that if I were going to visualize, what happens if I kind of give every single thing that I want to do in 2023 a weight, like a numbered weight? So the things with the higher numbered weight are the bigger priority things, because if those things change or improve or get better, then the rest of the year will be better by default. Even if I don't get the others done in quarter 2, 3, or 4, if I got the stuff done in quarter 1, that will have the biggest impact on the rest of 2023. So again, visualize what you want for your kids and for your family, for your household, for your finances, for your health, for your fitness, for your business for 2023. What are the products you want to sell? Do you want to do private label? Like, what do you visualize for yourself and your business? Where do you want your business to go in 2023? Is this the year that you're going to make a transition? So I want you to visualize those things and using the information that you have from 2022 to kind of say, what's the best fit for me? So the next one is to determine your needs. This one I think is the hardest because sometimes we don't know what it is we need. Like if your vision for your business is to, start private label, then what do you need? You need to learn how to do private label. If your vision for your business is to double your sales, then what do you need? You need to know what your numbers are, and then what's the effort that's involved to double your numbers? Meaning, do you have to increase your hours? Do you have to throw more money at inventory? Do you have to, hire another person? What is it that you need? Is it something that you need to learn? Is it a resource you need to hire? Is it a thing that you need to make modifications on how you spend your time? If you get sucked into what they call TikTok, the fentanyl of social media, like, which is bad. Do you need to get off of social media? Do you need to just delete the app? Like, what do you need to do? I would pray about it, ponder it, meditate over it. What is it that you feel like you need to do? Think about that for your family and for your life. What is it that you need for your family? What do you need if you're If your vision is to improve your health and your desire is to improve your health, or your desire is to double your finances, like what is it that you need? If one of the things you're struggling with is focus and concentration, maybe 2023 is the year that you actually see somebody about it. Maybe you get a medication. Maybe your need is actually a prescription, or maybe it's a change in diet, or maybe it's an addition of adding supplements, or maybe changing your sleeping pattern. Like there could be things that you can do that can improve and help you get to where you need to be in order to accomplish or to make your vision real. So what is it that you need? What do you need financially? What do you need spiritually? What do you need from a resource standpoint? What do you need to learn or better understand? What is it that you need to stop doing? Yeah. What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to avoid? What do you need to eliminate? If finances are a challenge and you feel like, okay, what I need to do is I need to invest more money in my business, well, then that means you need to go through and analyze where your money is going right now. Maybe you have a couple of subscriptions you need to get rid of. Maybe there's maybe there's something else that you're paying for that you need to stop, like, okay, I don't need this anymore. So what do you need, or what do you not need? Because it could be you need to get rid of some things, eliminate, remove, whatever that happens to be, unsubscribe. If you are one of those people that is challenged with just staying focused and you have 9,000 email subscriptions that you're getting in and they're offering you a new shiny object, maybe you need to do some unsubscribing. That's what your need is. So figure out what it is that you need, and you should be writing that down and going through and figuring it out. And then, ponder on that. Is this really something that I need, or is it in the want category? Because there's a distinct difference between want and need. If you're really wanting to move the needle forward in your business, yes, moving your needle forward in your business is a want, unless you're required to work your business in order to keep the lights on and keep water coming out of your faucet. If you're required to work your business, then that's truly a need. But if you have a 9 to 5 and you're just wanting to quit, that's a want. And so the business may still be a want. And if it is really like throwing your mental health off and making your life at home very, very difficult, then quitting may be a real need for you. So really try to discern what's a want, what's a need, and separate the two. Separate the two, because sometimes we spend a lot of times in the area of want and we classify it as a need, and it's really not. We just want it so much that we just refuse to see that it's not a need. It's really just a want. All right. So the next thing I would encourage you to do is to plan and to prepare. You've got to start putting together a plan after you've identified the stuff that you feel like that you know that you need, and the things that you don't need. After you've kind of identified what your vision is, you've got to put together a plan. Using the information from last year and moving forward into this year. Again, we're not going to carry last year into this year, but there's some things that we learned from that, and we're going to use that information, that knowledge, and that experience to help us make, we pray, better decisions in 2023 or different decisions in 2023. So you got to put together a plan, and you've got to prepare. What are the things that I have to do in order for this plan to work? Again, there may be some need things in there. You might need to learn something. You might need to hire somebody. You might need to stop doing something. You might need to whatever, fill in the blank. So you got to prepare. Once you put together the plan, now you got to prepare to execute the plan. There's some things you have to put in place. And as I said before, like I put together my I won't say sort of plan, but talking to my kids and what do we want to do in 2023? What is it? Where do you want to go for the summer? What do you want to do for the summer? Do you want to get into sports? Do you want to, play the guitar, get into acting? Like, what do you want to do? Something that you want to do. Let's write them all down. We're not saying we're going to do all of them, but let's tackle one thing and see how it works. And so we're preparing for that. We're spending the week just kind of cleaning up and closing out 2022 and setting the foundation for putting processes and routines in place that we can hopefully, we won't say easily, execute. Because when it comes to I call my kids free radicals. When it comes to free radicals, you never know how it's going to go. It's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what's going to happen, but you're going to continue to work to keep your train on the tracks, to keep your focus in the midst of them derailing you every 15 minutes. So the goal is to give them some goals and to give them something to think about and to work on and to help them to keep their train on the track so that you can keep your train on the track. So you got to prepare for that. You got to spend some time clearing some stuff out the way, getting rid of some rubbish, doing some things differently, implementing something new. So in that preparing, you're preparing for your future success and you're being intentional about the things that you're doing when it comes to your personal or business or work life. Preparing for that future success or anything else that you do. It doesn't have to be any of those. It could be, like me, I'm the vice president of a nonprofit. So that has nothing to do with any of the others. It has nothing to do. It's another hat that I wear. It's a different hat. Then as we sort of put together our plan, from the plan, we're going to break down and document some goals somewhere, put them in a journal, put them in a notebook, go buy a spiral notebook. You can get one at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. At this point, I would say, depending on which stores you go, like there's a 99-cent store. You can go there and get one for 99 cents. Or, there might be some 50 cent. I know I found some 50-cent clearance at Walmart in school supplies. So again, just go grab a notebook if you don't have a journal and write out goals that are realistic and relevant for you. And establish some targets. As I said before, I kind of try and focus on things broken down by quarter because a quarter has 3 months in it. If I say I'm going to do something for a month, I work towards that month. But again, when you have free radicals, your kids, they might derail you. So I always try to make sure that I put in place something that's going to allow me a little more time should I not be able to be consistent for some reason. So I know in first quarter that my son's going to be starting track in February. That's going to force me to execute a completely different schedule. So that's going to derail us for a little bit. I won't say consistently all the time, but there will be days where what I wanted to get done for the day, I only get 75% of it done, or I only get 50% of it done. Whereas other days I can execute and get 100% or get 90% done. So I know I'm going to have some days that I won't have any control over. My son will tell me at the last minute, we have a track meet at XYZ. And I'll be like, why didn't you tell me before now? Well, the coach just said they moved it. Okay. So that's part of sports life for parents who can identify with that. It got moved because it rained. We don't know if we're playing today. We're not going to play today. Blah, 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 blah. We need this uniform. I don't have that color uniform clean. This was the one that's clean. Yeah. I don't know where my cleats are. Yeah. All of that fun stuff. So put together some realistic and relevant goals and establish some targets. When do you want to get these things done? When do you want to start these things? When do you want it to be done? What's your measurement for success? How are you measuring whether or not you're making progress towards these things? So this is where you write and document all of the things. You put all of this on paper. And with your targets and goals, you might as well just throw in a schedule in there where you can, where it makes sense. If you don't want to put together a schedule, put together a checklist so that you can mark off the progress as you go along. But give yourself a window, whether it is 30 days or whether it is 60 days or 90 days. Give yourself some targets for the different goals that you establish. Now, once you've kind of documented all of that fun stuff, it's time for you to take action. It's time for you to implement. It's time for you to execute. It is time for you to move forward. I am speaking to all the people who spend a lot of time learning, but they don't execute. You are a full-time student. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you have got to move differently in 2023. There is no way that you're going to know every possible thing that can happen in your business or not happen in your business, or every possible thing that's going to happen in your life and not happen in your life. At some point, I want to encourage you to just rip the Band-Aid off. Just jump into the water. The water is fine. It's time to get going. Let's get moving. Let's get our train on the track and let's start pushing forward. Even if it is a gradual inch by inch push, at some point you're going to gain some momentum and you'll start to notice the difference. I think what happens sometimes with people, we get caught up in progress and we don't see the immediate progress. So we're not willing or interested in continuing to move on because it is just, I'm not seeing any difference. I'm not seeing any change. And the reality is, like, progress takes a little bit of time and sometimes you can't see the progress. Much like when you see a duck on a pond, like, you don't see how feverishly they might be swimming underneath. What you see is it looks like the duck is just floating or floating across the water, gliding across the water, floating across the water. And you don't see everything that's happening underneath. So I do want to encourage you, as you're working to take massive action, do not compare your results to somebody else. Do not get caught up in the I got to learn everything before I can take any action. There are times in our lives where we need to take a pause in our business and in our life for valid reasons, and that's okay. It is okay. When you have to take a pause because something major happened with your health, you got to have some major surgery and it's completely unexpected, or something happens with your kids or your family, that is, you have to deal with that right then. It's not planned. It wasn't expected. Things like your car breaking down and you haven't been taking care of your car for like 6 years, that you could have had some level of control over. That you could have. So there's a difference between, living in a reactionary situation where you never make any progress because you're just fending off and fighting through life because you're always reacting to everything. So again, going back to what we talked about before, figure out what it is that you need. Maybe you need to make some different decisions. Maybe you need to move differently. Maybe you need to put some processes in place. And maybe that's the thing you need to do. And that's where you take the pause. And you do all of that before you get to the place where you're supposed to take massive action. You establish some goals and some plans. You have to have a vision for where you want to go. Then you establish the goals and the plans, and what are the plans and the goals. And then now you're ready to take action. But you do sometimes have to put stuff in place before you can move forward. And that's okay. And so if first quarter is you're putting plans in place time, then do that so that you can run like the bulls in Pamplona in quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. But definitely step through the process. And then next, you want to monitor and track your progress. Make sure you're paying attention to where you are, how things are going. Are you hitting any goals or targets that you established? Like, you had some targets, so are you hitting them? Track your progress so that you know whether or not you're doing well. This might also be the window in which you actually try to get an accountability partner, or get one just before you're about to take massive action, so that you don't feel alone and you feel like you've got a partner. Because doing this, this e-commerce thing alone is a lot. I'm a single mom, so doing this parenting thing alone and doing this e-commerce thing alone is a lot. And you just feel like it's just you, and you feel like you're in the struggle and the fight by yourself. And the reality is there's other people that are struggling sometimes as well, or they have just gotten over their struggle and they've got a testimony, but they don't share. There's information that you just don't know that people have been overcoming. So just know that you're not alone. This might be the window in which you try to get an accountability partner right before you're about to execute, or while you're in the monitor, and say, hey, here were my goals. And I just want you to help me keep me honest. Help me keep me on track. Okay. And, if you don't have a planner, get a planner so you can track some of this stuff and see where you are. Reassess your progress every month and every quarter, which is what I was saying before. Using that opportunity to reassess where you are and what progress are you making. Do you have to build new goals? Do you have to adjust? Sometimes you do have to adjust. Life happens and adjustments are sometimes necessary. So readjust where you need to, but reassess your progress every month and every quarter to see where you are. And then work on finding, getting, having a support system. Again, being a single parent, I can tell you the first several years were just so rough. My mom came and stayed with me, which is something like me and my mom at the beginning, we didn't have the best relationship in the world, but I just could not do it by myself. I just couldn't. Then she left, and I was able to hire an amazing young lady, Ms. V, who was a blessing to our family. But again, I couldn't do any of this alone as a single parent. And then doing e-commerce, again, I started the journey on my own, but I was around like-minded individuals who were also sellers, that when we would create listings or we would get a sale, we would celebrate that and we would talk about it and we would be excited about the progress that was being made in our business. And it was all part of the process. And I love that about that journey. And I feel like having that type of support system where you can talk about what's happening and all the good, the bad, the ugly, I think is good, because sometimes that helps you keep motivated and keeps you excited and keeps you engaged. Because I can tell you, around this time of the year, right now, for at least the next 2 months, there's going to be a massive amount of shiny object syndrome happening. There's going to be a massive amount of whatever coming out, and you might get derailed just by that. So having a support system in place, whether it's masterminding with other e-commerce sellers, whether it is getting a coach, whether it is checking in with your accountability partner, whether it is doing a post on social media that says, hey, today I'm going to list 25 items. And then when you're done, okay, I listed my 25. So then that way the rest of the world, even if nobody else, even if you got one follower, like at least is out there that this is what I'm doing. So I'm going to encourage you to do that. Get a support system in place. Get your kids to cheer you on. Like, hey, mommy's got to list these 10 items. When she's done, we'll all go and, I don't know, do a TikTok together. Who knows? Just something to celebrate as you're continuing to make progress little by little, day by day, step by step, moment by moment, as you're going through this journey. I hope that was helpful. I hope that you use that to help you on your journey. We actually took a deeper dive in the annual e-commerce planning sessions. We talked about a lot of different things. Some of the stuff that I just mentioned were pieces, small pieces from there. And some of it, a couple of them weren't. But the point is that these are things that you're going to go through this process as a seller. And I want to encourage you that if you didn't get the replay, that you go and watch the replay or listen to the replay. You can go to swiy.co/2023 replay. Again, swiy.co/2023 replay. And this is the 2023 annual e-commerce planning workshop that we did over the 3 days, where we talked about reset and reassess and reset. And then refocus and re-energize your business. So go check out those sessions. They're definitely worth it. And get your game plan together. Spend the next couple of days just putting together your game plan so that you know what you're going to move forward with at the beginning of next week. Spend this week putting processes in place and getting your planner and doing everything you need to do so that you're ready to rock and roll. So are you a person that is interested in doing more with bundles in 2023? Are you interested in playing with bundles, creating bundles, doing more multi-packs? Are you interested at all? If you are, type it in the comments. I want to know, what would you do if you had a bundle idea already laid out for you every single week for 2023? That doesn't mean you can't add another one. But what if you started off the year with 52 bundle ideas? Like one for every week, that made logical sense based on what was coming up, 6 to 8 to 12 to 14 weeks ahead of that. What if? Ponder, think. So I love bundles. I love working on bundles. I love creating bundles. I just love all things bundles related. And we have a workshop for those people who want to come and make some bundles, or who want to come and work on bundle ideas with me. So if you are interested, I'm hoping you'll come hang out with me next weekend, or this weekend. I guess it's this weekend. It's the Build the 2023 game plan, where we're actually going to take a deep dive in planning for 2023, and we're going to put together your bundle ideas. and products for 2023. We're actually going to go out and do some, not necessarily retail arbitrage. I mean, we'll do some concept arbitrage. Maybe that's the best way to put it. So we're going to go out and look at what's out there when it comes to bundles and do a proof of concept and figure out the sourcing for it. What are the ideas? What do we have to do to put together this amazing bundle? What does it need? What does the packaging need to be like? All of that. We're going to do that in this session. So on Friday, we're going to go through and do our 2023 planning. And then towards the end of that, we're going to start transitioning to the bundles. And then all of Saturday, the 7th, we're going to work on bundles and creating bundles and bundle ideas. So it's going to be here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And all you need to do is go to ecomsellersmastery.com/planning 2023. Again, ecomsellersmastery.com/planning 2023. Come hang out. Let's work on some bundles. Let's work on some bundle ideas and concepts, and let's make it happen for us. All right. And with that, you do get a free e-commerce planner. I have a box of them in my office, so you can get a free e-commerce planner at this event. So if you bought one, just pick it up at the event. If you didn't buy one, you'll get a free one at the event. Then next, I wanted to let you all know that if you don't know, for the next 24 hours, we have a BOGO going on. Buy one, get one free. So if you buy the eCom planner, you will get a free PDF download. So you'll get the download PDF in addition to the physical planner. You get both of them together. So all you have to do is buy the physical one and you'll get the PDF absolutely free. So buy one, get one for the 2023 eCom planner. Go get it so you can use it to help you to get focused for 2023. And if you didn't know, eCom Sellers Academy, we do have the lifetime, with the lifetime membership, you can get a free e-commerce planner there. So literally, we're trying to give you an e-commerce planner in everything that you do. All you need to do is just sign up for the lifetime and you get a free e-commerce planner. So go and check that out right now. And then last but not least, if you're looking to get leads in 2023, you can definitely sign up for the eCom Sales Academy RAOA leads program and get 50 leads every single week, 200 every single month. Go to ecomsalesacademy.com/RAOA leads. So with that, I hope this information is helpful. I hope that you use it to help you in planning and preparing for your massive success in 2023. My name is Nicole Whitlock, and this is the eCom Sellers Podcast. We do this every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, so come check us out. Next Monday, when my partner in crime, Miss Kelly Ward, will be with us. And with that, we will say goodbye for now. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.